Okay, let's get right into it. This is a strategic briefing about a whole new kind of risk. And look, this isn't about the latest scary headline. We're talking about a deep, structural threat that's quietly humming away beneath our entire global digital world. And it's posing a fundamental challenge to stability as we know it.
So what's at the heart of this? It's really this one single idea. Our digital systems, they're just growing without any natural breaks, while the institutions trying to govern them are, well, still finite, human-sized. And this one mismatch right here, this is the source of what might be the biggest long-term threat to everything from our economy to our national sovereignty. It basically defines the era we're living in right now.
All right, so let's dive in. We're calling this the infinity gap, but what does that actually mean? What is this mismatch between our tech and the way we try to control it?
Here's the key thing to get. This isn't a problem you can blame on bad guys, or clumsy regulators, or even buggy code. No, it's a structural problem. It's like our digital world, everything from finance to AI, is operating at a godlike scale and speed. And the systems we've built to manage it, our laws, our ethics, they were designed for a human-paced world. They've just been completely outgrown.
So this isn't just some abstract theory. You've actually seen the symptoms of this gap in the real world. Think about it. Financial crises that explode faster than anyone can possibly react. Political systems that just seem to grind to a halt, totally deadlocked. Sovereignty getting fuzzy as big tech platforms become more powerful. And trying to figure out who's accountable for anything, it's getting almost impossible. These aren't all separate random problems. They're all symptoms of this same single underlying issue.
Okay, the obvious question then is, why can't we just fix this? Write some better laws, get tougher on enforcement. Well, the problem is that our entire toolkit, everything we'd normally reach for, is basically obsolete.
I mean, think about how we always respond when something goes wrong, right? We call for tighter regulations, more enforcement, better monitoring. It's our go-to playbook. But every single one of those tools is linear, it's reactive. They were all designed for a world that was just simpler and a whole lot slower.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got these digital systems that are self-amplifying, they evolve faster than we can even hold a committee meeting, they act before we can even begin to have oversight, they're infinite. And on the other side, our tools. Reactive, incremental, slow. They're finite. It's like trying to catch a bullet with a butterfly net. You can't govern infinity with tools designed for a finite world. And that leads to this really crucial point. Everything we're doing right now, it's basically a stopgap. We're running around patching leaks, but the dam itself is failing structurally. So yeah, these little fixes might delay the inevitable, but they absolutely do not prevent it.
So, if the old tools are broken, what's the alternative? Well, this brings us to a potential solution. It's a completely different way of thinking, a real paradigm shift. It's called Digital Fabrica Theory.
Okay, let's be super clear here. Digital Fabrica Theory, or DFT for short, it's not another app you can download. It's not a new platform. The name Fabrica literally means the underlying fabric or structure of something. So think of this as a blueprint for a whole new kind of civilizational infrastructure. The source material compares it to something as foundational as constitutional law, and that's really the right scale to be thinking.
And here is the absolute core idea, the big shift in thinking. Instead of trying to control these infinite systems from the outside, building a cage around the chaos, the idea is to govern them from the inside. You build stability, you build limits, you even build ethics directly into the architecture, into the very fabric of the system itself.
So, how on earth does that actually work in practice? Well, it's about a fascinating shift from thinking about rules to thinking about geometry. Let me give you an analogy. Instead of just putting up a speed limit sign on a road, which is a rule you can break, you actually design the road with curves that make it physically impossible to drive dangerously fast. See? The control is baked into the geometry of the road itself.
And that's exactly what this transition is all about. We're moving away from external enforcement, from fragile rules that can be bent or broken, and we're moving to an internal geometry, to an invariant architecture where the bad outcomes are basically impossible by design. Stability isn't something you add on later. It's just a fundamental property of the system itself.
And when we talk about what this new architecture gives you, we're not talking about pinky promises or vague mission statements. These are hard, structural guarantees. Things like processes always terminate. They can't run away forever. Power can't just accumulate endlessly in one place. Ethical lines cannot be bypassed. And the system stays governable, no matter how big it gets. The best way to think about these is not as rules, but as laws of physics for the system. Like gravity, you don't obey it, it's just how things work.
Okay, so this civilization stack looks a little complex, but the idea is actually really simple and elegant. It's a blueprint for building a digital world that's stable from the ground up. You see at the bottom, L0, that's the real world, matter, energy. You can't build on anything less. Then on top of that, you build the fabric, then the protocols for communication, the contracts for law, all the way up to governance, and at the very top are shared civilizational values. Each layer depends on the one below it. This whole structure is designed to make sure our digital world never becomes completely untethered from physical reality and from our own ethics.
All right, so why are we talking about this now? What does this all mean for us today? Well, the argument is that we are right in the middle of a massive historic shift. And simply recognizing that fact is the critical first step, so we can act before a major crisis forces us to. You know, if you look back through history, you see these moments again and again. Every time a truly game-changing technology comes along, we have to completely upgrade our foundational rulebook to handle it. Think about it. Agriculture came, and we had to invent the concept of law and property. The Industrial Revolution happened, and we had to invent the concept of individual rights. Electricity, nuclear power, each one required a new foundation. The argument here is that the infinite digital era is one of those moments. It requires its own new architecture.
And that brings us to maybe the most important takeaway of all. This isn't really a technological choice we're talking about. It's a civilizational one. The question isn't which software do we use. The real question is, what kind of future are we trying to build? Is it one based on stability and predictability? Or do we just want to keep lurching from one crisis to the next, always reacting, never in control?
And so we'll leave you with this final thought. We know that every era eventually upgrades its foundations. The only question is when. Do we wait for a catastrophic failure to force our hand? Or do we try to make that upgrade proactively, by choice? That is the fundamental question that the infinity gap and digital fabricata theory put right in front of us.